A year ago, when I got deep into the rewriting of The Skin Artist, I encountered one of its big problems: Lucy's tattoos. She had all of these miscellaneous images on her body that in no way meaningfully connected to the book's themes. I was stuck. I found myself Googling tattoos, but I couldn't come up with any significant imagery. And as the novel's tattoo artist, Niall, reiterates, choice of image is important. These things are permanent, at least as permanent as flesh. At the time, my son and I were reading Paradise Lost together, and it came to me: Adam and Eve, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The theme of lost paradise was already thick in the novel, all the gardening, especially Wesley and his mother's gardening together. Dwayne's locavore impulse to grow all the food that he and Crystal consume. This was before locavore was a thing or even a word. But more generally, the book's pastoral preoccupation with the transition from an agrarian society to an urban one, all the hillbillies moving to Charlotte and reinventing themselves. A part of Bill yearns to leave the suburbs and get back to the garden. Part of his yearning for the garden is for some kind of sexual health. It's interesting to me that of all the biblical stories, few have entered the popular imagination as a story about sex, or if it does, it's usually a cautionary tale. Samson and Delilah, even the tale of our first parents is a cautionary tale, but it changes and transforms in the popular imagination often into a kind of positive treatment of desire. In Milton's poem, Adam is fixated on Eve's separating from him. He's very clearly jealous of her relationship with the snake. This is a couple of hundred years before Freud. And yet the threat of Eve's infidelity only enhances Adam's devotion to her. Listen to this passage after Eve has succumbed to the snake's temptation and eaten of the forbidden fruit and brings a sample to Adam. He decides to share with her, even though he's not too psyched about it. So this is Adam to Eve. I with thee have fixed my lot, certain to undergo like doom. If death consort with thee, death is to me as life. So forcible within my heart, I feel the bond of nature draw me out to my own in thee. For what thou art is mine. Our state cannot be severed. We are one flesh. To lose thee were to lose myself. Eve is understandably touched by Adam's declaration of his commitment to her and makes this speech in return. O glorious trial of exceeding love, illustrious evidence, example high, engaging me to emulate, but short of thy perfection. How shall I attain, Adam, from whose dear side I boast me sprung, and gladly of our union hear thee speak? One heart, one soul in both. In her poem Marriage, Marianne Moore offers this delicious parody. For Moore, Milton's Adam is the "O thou to whom, from whom, without whom nothing" Adam. Moore is, of course, accurate in calling Milton out on his condescension. Milton builds a case in the voice of Adam to God's emissary for seeing their disobedience, Adam's disobedience at least, as unavoidable, written into the fabric of creation. In Angels in America, that great American play about religion, the gay liberation movement, and the AIDS crisis, Tony Kushner makes a similar case. Paradise is static, but change is inherent to life, and especially to any loving relationship. In the commitment of any two people to each other, you've got to embrace change. And Milton's poem ultimately affirms that same position. After many, many pages chronicling the suffering of Adam and Eve, their lost innocence, describing the shame and selfishness that follows the lust that descends on Adam and Eve after they eat of the fruit, after they blame each other for many, many pages for their common fall, after they are banished from paradise. At the end of the poem, it's a very hopeful moment because they are free with the whole world to explore, and their success now depends on their own agency. They carry with them now a more mature, tragic view of humanity. They carry knowledge of moral choice and of their mortality, and this forces them to grow up. So these lines from the very end of Milton's poem: some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them, where to choose their place of rest, and Providence their guide. They, hand in hand, with wandering steps and slow, through Eden took their solitary way. Thanks for listening, and if you've enjoyed The Skin Artist, I would appreciate your sharing your thoughts with me or with a friend looking for a good book. Take care.